Hello guys, this is Yitch from Bronzebeard EU, and today I'm going to be bringing you a patch 4.2 complete marksmanship hunter guide. I hope you enjoy. In this guide I'm going to be covering everything you guys are going to want to know about marksmanship hunters. This ranges from glyphs, to stat priority, to rotation. Alright guys, so starting off with the guide, we are going to go through the stat priorities that you will need as a marksmanship hunter. So, starting off with, without a doubt, you're going to need hit cap. To maintain your hit cap, you can go to a cool website called Mr. Robot. This website will help you optimize your gear to get the best gear with the best DPS as possible with your stat priorities. Okay, next off we are going to go through the main stat priorities. Of course, that is crit, haste, mastery. So, of course, mainly what you're going to need is crit as a marksmanship hunter. The stat priority for a marksmanship hunter is crit, haste, mastery. Now I'm going to tell you what you have to do. Mainly, if you have a item with crit and mastery, you're going to want to reforge your mastery to haste, and that's because haste has priority over mastery, but also crit has priority over haste. So if you had a item with hit and mastery, you're going to want to reforge the mastery to crit, because crit has priority over everything else. I hope this makes sense to you guys. It is really confusing even to say this, but if you listen carefully, it shouldn't be too hard to understand. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next part of our guide. Alright guys, so now I'm going to go over the gems and enchants. So of course, the 60 agility and 35 haste rating enchant on your headpiece, you can get this from being revered with Ramhacken. On the shoulder piece, 50 agility and 25 mastery, you can get this by being exalted with the Therazane. On your cloak, 65 critical strike. On your chest piece, plus 20 tool stats. On your bracers, plus 50 agility. On your main hand, plus 130 agility. On your gun, or your ranged weapon, you can either have Gnomish X-ray scope or Flintlocks Woodchucker. I've heard that Flintlocks Woodchucker has a slight FPS increase, or DPS even. Sorry, I get confused with those two words. So I would highly recommend having Flintlocks Woodchucker, just to be on the safe side. On your boots, I normally go for Assassin Step, which is the enchantment I have right now. But you guys can have the higher agility enchant, which I believe is 35 agility. It's highly up to you. On our legs, we're going to want to have the 190 attack power enchant and 55 crit. And on our gloves, I like to go for the 65 mastery. You guys can go for the 20 agility, it's personal preference. Okay, so now for the gems. You're going to want to use Delicate Inferno rubies in your red slots, and of course Deadly Ember Topaz on your yellow slots. Okay, so obviously you're going to want to go for as much socket bonus as possible. If the socket bonus is plus 20 agility, you're going to want to have Deadly Ember Topaz, but if anything else like 10 agility, you're going to want to go for Delicate Inferno rubies. That's it for the gemming and enchanting part of the guide. Now I'm going to go through the pet that you're going to want to use and why. Alright guys, so now I'm going to tell you about the pet that I use. I use the normal wolf. Now this wolf should not be underestimated. It's got two very nice spells that you can use. The first good spell is Furious Hell. And basically what this does is increases the critical strike chance of all party and raid members by 5%, which is very helpful when you're on a boss. And Call of the Wild, which basically it increases your pets and your melee and range attack power by 10%. This lasts 20 seconds. Now basically what I've done is I've made a macro which I combine all of my it's basically like a one-shot macro, but it's for a hunter. And I've put Rapid Fire, Lightning Charged Gloves, Furious Howl, Call of the Wild. My Lightning Charged Gloves are engineered, so they increase my agility by 480. The rapid fire increases your haste. Furious how, of course, you've heard what that does, and also Call of the Wild. So in one, when I press F1, I can do all of that in one. So it's a really effective one-shot macro, and I highly recommend you guys use it. And I highly recommend you be an engineer. It's really beneficial. So that's just explaining what pet I use and why. Now I'm going to move on to the talents. Okay guys, so now moving on to the talent tree. Starting off we have Go for the Throat, which is self-explanatory. Then we have Efficiency, which reduces the focus cost of your Arcane Shot by 3, your Explosive Shot, and Chimera Shot by 6. Then we have Sick'em, which is a pet talent. Then we have Improved Steady Shot, which is our first very important talent. This increases our ranged haste by 15% when we simultaneously use Steady Shot twice. Then Careful Aim, which increases the critical strike chance of your Steady Shot, Cobra Shot and Aimed Shot by 60% on targets who are above 90% health. Then we have Silencing Shot, which is very self-explanatory and is a must-have. Then we have Piercing Shots, which your critical, aimed, steady and chimera shots cause the target to bleed for 30% of the damage dealt over 8 seconds. Then we have True Sort Aura, which increases the attack power of party and raid members within 100 yards by 100%. I mean 10%. Sorry, I've got really fucked up. Then we have Termination. Your Steady Shot and Cobra Shot abilities grant an additional 6 focus when dealt on targets at or below 25% health. Then we have Resistance as Futile. You don't want to fully spec into this because it's not too much of a point, but it is very nice talent spec, but you don't want to because that's just a waste. Then we have Readiness, which is a must have, and this will end the cooldown on all of your hunter abilities. Then we have Master Marksman. You have a 60% chance when steady shot to gain the Master Marksman effect. This lasts 30 seconds, and after reaching 5 stacks, your next aim shot cast time will be reduced by 100%, which makes it an instant aim shot. I'm really tongue twisted, so sorry, I've been talking quite a lot. Then we have Rapid Recuperation. You gain 12 focus every 3 seconds while under the effect of rapid fire, and you gain 50 focus instantly when you gain rapid killing. Then we have Post Haste. This reduces the cooldown of your rapid fire by 2 minutes, and your movement speed is increased by 30% for 4 seconds after you use Disengage. This is of course self-explanatory and very nice when you're getting away from shit on the floor. Then we have Marked for Death. Your Arcane Shot and Chimera Shot have a 100% chance to automatically apply the Mark for Death effect. This is basically like Hunter's Mark, but we'll make it so you don't need to use Hunter's Mark. Then we have Chimera Shot, which is a shot that you will be using pretty much all the time in your rotation, so it's a must-have. Then moving on to all of these self-explanatory talents, you can take these. Pathing, of course, increases your ranged haste by 3%, which is very helpful. That's about it for the Marksmanship spec. Now I'm going to move on to the pet talents that you're going to want to have. Alright guys, so now we're on the pet talent part of the guide. Starting off, we want to spec into Serpent Swiftness. This increases your pet's attack speed by 10%. Then we want Dash, which is not needed, but it is very helpful. It increases your pet's movement speed by 80%. Then we want Spiked Collar. This increases the damage done by your pet's basic attacks by 9%. Then we want Ball Speed. This increases your pet's movement speed by 30%. Then we want Culling the Herd. When your pet's basic attack deals a critical strike, you and your pet deal 3% increased damage for 10 seconds. Then we want Spider's Bite. This increases the crit chance of your pet by 9%. Then we want Call of the Wild, which was mentioned in my rotation earlier on in the video. Then of course, Rabid. Your pet goes into a killing frenzy. Successful attacks have a chance to increase attack power by 5%. This attack effect will stack up by 5 times. lasts for 20 seconds. Then we want Wild Hunt. When your pet is at or above 50 focus, your pet's basic attacks will deal 120% more damage, but cost 100% additional focus. That's it for the pet talents. Now we'll go on to the glyphs. Okay guys, so now to the glyphs section of the video. In this part of the video I'm going to go over the glyphs that you're going to want. Now starting off with, we want the very important glyph of Steady Shot. This increases the overall damage dealt by Steady Shot by 10%. Then we want the glyph of Arcane Shot. This makes your Arcane Shot deal 12% more damage. Then we want glyph of Rapid Fire. This increases the haste gain from your rapid fire by an additional 10%. Then you want glyph of Raptor Strike. This reduces the damage taken by 20% for 5 seconds after using Raptor Strike. This is very helpful to use in your Whim Click macro, which I like to use in combination with Raptor Strike. Then we want glyph of Disengage. This decreases the cooldown on your disengage by 5 seconds. Then we want glyph of Trap Launcher. This reduces the focus cost of Trap Launcher by 10. The rest are just self-explanatory. Now for the rotation. We're going to want to open with a Serpent Sting and send our pet in, then a Chimera Shot, followed with 2 Steady Shots, then 2 Arcane Shots, then another 2 Steady Shots, another 2 Arcane Shots, and continue that rotation until Chimera Shot is off cooldown. Then refresh your Serpent Sting with your Chimera Shot. Whenever your aim shot procs, you want to use that instead of your 2 Arcane Shots. And that's basically it for the rotation. It's a very straightforward rotation, very easy to use, and of course when you're in an AoE encounter you're going to want to use multi-shot. I hope you enjoyed my DPS guide. If you enjoyed it, then it would be really nice if you could subscribe. I'll be releasing a lot more hunter content in the future. Any problems, you can leave a comment or PM me. That would be nice, and be nice to see what I done wrong. So yeah, see you in the next video, guys. Bye.